Okay, I want to go over some of the plant vocabulary that you will see in your packet before you go outside and start looking at plants. I want to make sure you understand what these terms mean. So I've made some pictures here for you. So I'm going to go over each of these. So I have a tree here and a flower here. Now, yes, flowers are not as big as trees, but that's fine for this picture. So the tree is it's the largest form of a plant. So there's no plant bigger than a tree, okay? So trees are the largest, and it has a single stem, and we call it a trunk. When it's a tree trunk, and it has branches, versus the stem of a flower. So this is the main body or stalk of a plant. Same thing for trees and flowers. And in both of them, it carries water from the roots to the leaves. So going up here, water going there, going up here, water going here. So that can bring us to the roots. So the roots soak up water and other nutrients from the ground. So that's why it's important when you're planting plants that you plant them in good, fertile soils so that they have a lot of nutrients, and water them so that they can get water. And also these anchor plants and trees to the ground. So when you're trying to pull up a flower, you see all those roots on it. That's what helps the flower roots. That's what helps the flower stay in the ground. Same thing with trees. It's really hard to unearth a tree. They've got these big, thick roots. Okay, so the water goes up through there, goes to the leaves. So the leaves soak in light and air to make food for the plant. And that happens through a process called photosynthesis, which we'll talk about that in a moment. So the leaves hold everything in, and then photosynthesis is going to happen. So there's also seeds, which help the flower or the tree reproduce, so making more flowers and trees. So usually these are spread around in a variety of ways. So with a seed for a flower, flowers have petals to attract animals that pollinate the flower, and the pigment is really important. So the seeds and the pollen get off on the honeybees that go around, or hummingbirds. So pigment is important because certain animals are attracted to certain colors. Pigment means just the color that is on the flower petals. So, for example, hummingbirds like red. So flowers that have a lot of nectar in them usually have red petals because that attracts hummingbirds, okay? Seeds on trees are a little bit different. So the acorns that you see, or pine cones, those are the seeds of the tree. And those can be transferred in all sorts of ways. Sometimes humans transfer them. Trees drop them on the ground so that they can be taken off. Animals transfer them. All sorts of things happened for those seeds to fall off, okay? So those are the parts of the different types of plants. So now I want to look at this process called photosynthesis. Photosynthesis is basically the process where a plant takes some things and turns it into food for itself. So we just so happen to also get some benefits from this. So here's what has to happen. Carbon dioxide, which is a gas that's naturally present in the air, and it's taken in by plants. So when you breathe out carbon dioxide. If you can't breathe in oxygen, then you have too much carbon dioxide, and you can't breathe. You have to have oxygen. So we breathe out the carbon dioxide out of our mouths, and plants soak this in. Water. Plants take water in through their roots, and light energy. So this is one of the reasons why plants need sunlight. They use the sunlight to make their food. Okay, so it comes from the sun and it's absorbed all in the leaves. All this process of photosynthesis happens in the leaves. Okay, so they take in the carbon dioxide that we breathe out, they take in water, and they take in light energy from the sun, and then they do their magic and they turn it into two things. They turn it into glucose, which is a kind of sugar. It's basically plant food. They hold on to that, and that's what keeps the plant alive. And they also turn it into oxygen. The plants don't need oxygen. They use carbon dioxide to make their food. Oxygen is just something they just so happen to make, which is really awesome for us because we breathe in oxygen. So the leaves shoot out all this oxygen for us then to breathe. And plants just do this constantly, all the time, so that they have food and it makes oxygen for us. So I really hope you have fun exploring plants while you go outside if you're able to and explore some plants. Don't forget to talk about the questions in your packet with a family member. We will also be talking about these in our conference as well. So we're going to be doing this for 2 days. So don't worry yet about the drawing of the flower. We'll worry about that tomorrow. But go ahead, and I hope you have fun exploring.